In this video, we're going to be adding a background to our Space Invaders program. So just as a review, we imported some libraries so this program will work, initialize the Pygame, set the screen. We have a spaceship image already and an enemy image. We set the position of both of these, the player and the enemy. We have our game loop, which runs through each of the different steps. In this section, we set up the events, quitting, pressing a key down, and the two keys we've used so far are right and left. We also have key up, and basically that just stops, in this case, the player exchange. Right when you pick up the key, it doesn't move anymore. The player goes back and forth in the left-right direction, and so does the enemy, so that's what's going on in this code here. And then a couple extras. If the player gets to one of the sides, it can't move anymore, shown here with its boundaries. And then when the enemy reaches a boundary, basically the enemy moves down 40 because enemy Y change is 40. It also changes direction, so when it hits the left side, it starts to go forward. When it hits the right side, moves down 40, and then starts to go backward. We called each of the functions to make the new position show for player X and player Y from the above code, and then we updated the display. So in order to bring in a background, I'm going to copy the same code we had for both the spaceship image and the enemy image, and I will paste it down here. So I'm going to have to change some of the code here. I also don't need as much. I can delete these bottom 4 variables because we don't really have to set the background position in the same way. We can do that somewhere else, and also the background doesn't have to move around. So I'm going to delete that. I also, in a separate tab, am in Schoology. So starting from the initial page, we scroll down to Programming Projects, Space Invaders, and I have my Pygame links and code to share. And this is where my link is for the background. So once this opens, scroll down, it lets me, and copy this link. So let's see, we can get that copied. And then I'm going to go back to my window where my program is. So down here, first off, I'm going to change this to say background image. I don't need position because I'll take care of that later. So background image. And then I'm going to take this link and delete it and paste the other link. So let's just see what's going on here, that they needed to enter this down. Just be, okay, there we go. So the other thing I need to do is I need to rename this. So I'm going to name this background image. And we're basically set. So this is a little easier than either bringing in the spaceship or the enemy image that we already did. So we're not going to create a function for the background. We're actually going to go down into our game loop, and directly below this screen fill, which I'm actually just going to change to 3 zeros, basically setting it at black there. It doesn't really matter because it's going to be covered up anyway. But underneath this, I'm going to use that same code that I used in my function. So I'm going to copy this code with the screen blit, basically to show the image. So we have screen.blit, background image, and I want to put the top corner of my background image right at the top corner of the screen. So I'm just going to put in here 0, 0. So in our other functions, we had parameters of X and Y, as you see here, because that was going to change position as player X or possibly player Y, enemy X, enemy Y moves. So we'll try this out now. Let's see how it works. So we're going to click Run Code. So now I have this star background image. You could bring in your own background image if you wanted to. For some reason on my computer, the spaceship or the enemy seems to be moving a little bit slower. Here he moves down, so I can see the things that we had before are still there.